Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We are tackling a super fascinating and honestly incredibly urgent topic today: thinking for yourself in the era of artificial intelligence. Now, I have to point out the deeply relatable irony right up front. I absolutely used AI tools to help analyze the research for this explainer, which is literally entirely focused on the importance of thinking for yourself. But, as we'll see, it's not about abandoning AI altogether. It's about how we use it. We're going to look closely at how defaulting to AI as just an obedient assistant is actively harming human cognition. And, more importantly, what we can actually do to fix it. To really understand the problem here, imagine a typical morning for a 21st century knowledge worker. You sit down at your desk, you open your inbox, and it's just overflowing. So what do? You click Summarize. Then you need to write a report, but you're staring at that classic blank page. No worries, right? You just drop in some source files, have an AI generate a complete draft, and boom, done. Next, you need a quick prototype built, so you just vibe code it. You ask the AI to generate the script for you. I mean, in just an hour, you've cleared your inbox, written a full report, and coded a prototype. It sounds like an absolute productivity utopia. But if you look a little closer at what is actually happening to your brain during this process, it's a completely different story. Because here is the punchline of our new reality. Writer's block used to mean staring in absolute frustration at a blank page. Today, writer's block is staring at a page completely filled out by an AI, reading through it, and trying to figure out if you actually agree with any of it. As the researcher Advait Sarkar so brilliantly puts it in the source material, we have essentially become professional validators of a robot's opinions. We have entered the age of outsourced reason. We just aren't engaging with the raw materials of our craft anymore. Instead, we've become, intellectual tourists in our own work. We just visit the ideas, we don't inhabit them. Let's move to part 1, the anatomy of the problem, 4 pillars of decline. So, the crucial point is we really have to look past this surface-level illusion of efficiency. Treating AI as just a mere obedient assistant to blast through our to-do list isn't just making us a little lazy, it is actively degrading our cognitive abilities across 4 very specific pillars. Those are creativity, critical thinking, memory, and metacognition. Let's actually look at the data behind each of these to see exactly how AI is harming our cognition. First up, consider creativity. Now, on an individual level, popping a prompt into an AI feels like this massive creativity boost. But studies are revealing a pretty disturbing trend on a collective level. When groups of knowledge workers use AI assistants, they actually produce a significantly smaller, much narrower range of ideas compared to groups who are just working manually. Because everyone is using the same underlying models, we are effectively creating a hive mind. And worse than that, it's a really boring hive mind that just keeps suggesting the exact same 5 ideas over and over again. Next, we look at critical thinking. Surveys of knowledge workers reveal this dangerous dynamic. When people use AI to do their work, they openly report putting way less effort into critical thinking than they do when they're working manually. And the danger spikes dramatically based on confidence. When a worker has high confidence in the AI system and maybe lower confidence in themselves, they basically just switch their brain off. They just accept the output without applying any of the rigorous evaluation that actual knowledge work requires. Then there's the third pillar, memory. This one is perhaps unsurprising, but it's alarming nonetheless. When people rely on AI to write a document for them, they retain and remember significantly less of what was actually written. And if you rely on AI-generated summaries instead of reading the original documents yourself, your retention just completely plummets. Putting a machine in between our reading and writing processes totally short-circuits the brain's mechanism for encoding information into long-term memory. And finally, the fourth pillar, which is perhaps the most complex, metacognition. Put simply, this is your ability to think about your own thinking process. Normally, when you tackle a really hard project, you have to break down the goals, decompose the steps, constantly evaluate your progress. All of those vital metacognitive skills are built directly into the messy, physical, and mental process of engaging with your material. When AI just steps in and does that messy middle part for you, you lose that engagement. You literally stop thinking about how to think. So, what's the final score in this brand new workflow? Well, we generate fewer unique ideas, we think about them far less critically, we remember them less well, and we actually have a harder time managing the process itself. Essentially, by outsourcing the actual heavy lifting of thinking, we've relegated ourselves to being nothing more than middle managers for our own thoughts. Which brings us to Section 2, losing our cognitive musculature. This leads to a really critical realization about the nature of work and thought. We so often view mundane, everyday tasks as these annoying little things to be automated away. But doing those tasks manually is actually essential. Those everyday opportunities to read, write, and synthesize, that is how we protect and build our brain's strength. It's our cognitive musculature. And this brilliantly illustrates the core absurdity of our current approach. As researcher Advait Sarkar notes, we've supposedly solved the problem of having to think, even though thinking was never actually a problem. It's exactly like inventing a cure for exercise, taking it every single day, and then sitting around wondering why we're out of breath all the time. When we don't use our brains, they get worse at doing brain things. It really is that simple.
Let's move on to section 3, the solution, building tools for thought.
The good news is it does not have to be this way. We don't have to throw the technology in the trash. We just have to completely change our relationship with it. We need to move beyond building AI as the submissive assistant and start building AI as a true tool for thought. To show you what I mean, let's look at a prototype workflow developed by researchers at Microsoft. Imagine a fictitious knowledge worker named Clara who works at a beverage company. Clara has to write a huge strategic proposal based on some really dense industry reports. Instead of just hitting summarize, Clara loads the docs into a workspace and applies what they call custom lenses. These act as customizable micro-representations that highlight what's relevant for her specific task. So she's still reading the source text, but she's doing it strategically, aided by the AI, rather than having the AI just read the whole thing for her.
And as Clara reads and highlights, the AI is not writing the report for her. Instead, it offers what the researchers call provocations. These are AI-generated critiques, commentaries, and counterarguments that literally pop up in the margins. They might point out potential fallacies in her logic or suggest totally alternative business opportunities. The goal here is entirely different. These provocations are meant to stimulate her thinking and force her to defend her logic. They are absolutely not there to autocomplete her ideas for her.
Look at the stark contrast between these two modes of working. AI autocomplete bypasses human thinking entirely. It just gets words on a page so you can go home. But this new workflow with AI provocations is designed to be what they call interactionally effortless but cognitively effortful. Clara is manually building her outline while the AI constantly pokes and prods at her ideas. By the time a draft is finally generated from her outline, the text is deeply rooted in Clara's own personal judgment and professional expertise. She actually owns the ideas. Now, you want to know what's really interesting about this prototype interface? It's what is completely missing from it. There is absolutely no chat box. Clara doesn't have to talk to some AI avatar to get her work done. The computer just silently and appropriately assists her in the background. It acts as a highly advanced computational tool, not as an ersatz human trying to hold a conversation with her. Let's see how this builds a framework for the future of our software. The researchers found that if we want to reverse this loss of creativity and critical thinking, we have to design our tools using 3 core principles. First, preserve material engagement. You have to force the user to actually interact with the source text. Second, offer productive resistance. Make the user defend their choices against pushback and counterarguments. And third, scaffold metacognition. Build interfaces that naturally prompt the user to think deeply about their own process and their end goals. Adopting this requires a massive shift in how we value technology in the workplace, because the ultimate goal of a tool for thought is not mere efficiency. The aim is better thinking. Sure, sometimes you get both, and the AI definitely helps you move faster. But beyond just getting the job done faster, this kind of AI helps you understand the job better. Beyond just handing you the right answers, it forces you to figure out if you're even asking the right questions in the first place. Now, as we develop more and more advanced AI, some people might ask, hey, if AI eventually gets to the point where it can literally think better than a human, why do we even care about protecting human thought at all? Well, the researchers point to 2 fundamental reasons for this. First, humans very likely have unique strengths in how we think that we aren't even fully aware of yet, strengths that machines may just never replicate. And second, the sheer ability to think well is absolutely essential for human agency, for our empowerment, and for our overall flourishing as individuals. Humanity has actually faced variations of this existential question before, right? When books and writing were popularized, philosophers worried that if paper could remember for us, it might not matter if we lose our memories. When GPS came along, we asked, well, if maps navigate for us, does it matter that we lose our own sense of direction? And now, in the age of generative AI, we face the ultimate iteration of this question. If machines can think for us, does it matter that we cannot? The answer, of course, is that it matters deeply. If machines speak for us, grieve for us, and think for us, we lose the very thing that makes us human. We are at a critical juncture right now where we can choose exactly how this technology shapes our minds. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought as you go back to your inbox and your projects today. Look at the software you use every single day and ask yourself, what would you rather have? A tool that thinks for you or a tool that makes you think?